skincare nerds, welcome back. I'm Cathy, and every week we have fun breaking down the world of skincare and beauty. This week we're talking about Korean sunscreens. You know sunscreens are a must-have. They're like skin insurance, protecting you from hyperpigmentation and premature aging, so you'll definitely thank yourself in the future for wearing them today. But it is hard to find the right one that you'll actually want to wear and reapply, which is where Korean sunscreens come in. They're really innovative and include a lot of the newer, more advanced sunscreen filters that aren't yet available in the US, and also have a lot more wearable formulations. Plus, I love the finish of Korean products. They'll help you get that glowy, dewy, healthy look like Jung Ho Yeon in Squid Game. Well, I mean, like at least how she looked in the beginning. Oh, and yes, Korean sunscreens have really gotten a shakeup in the last year, but the situation has improved a lot, so I will be touching on that. And yes, I will be reviewing the newly reformulated Purito sunscreen. So this week we are sponsored by Stelvana. You can find a ton of K-beauty on there, from skincare to makeup and body care. I also got a discount code for you all, INF10COS, for 10% off your entire order, and another 15% if you spend over 59 US, 75 Canadian, 43 pounds, 77 Australian dollars, or 48 euro. So it's a great time to stock up and sort out your fall-winter skincare routine. Which Korean sunscreen is best for you? Let's get into it. Let's just jump in with chemical sunscreen. They usually feel really nice to apply, absorb well, and don't leave a white cast. But the downside is they can be irritating, sting sensitive skin, and smell a bit like a new car. But don't worry, because we will talk about physical and mixed sunscreens too. For my chemical sunscreen pick, you all already know I love this one. It's the Isntree Hyaluronic Acid Watery Sun Gel. I mention it in both my Get Ready With Me video and my 2021 sunscreen guide. Why? I really like the finish. It's got that radiant, glowy finish without being oily, and it works super well under makeup. I really love that it's not irritating, sticky, or itchy at all, and it doesn't pill. Plus, it's fragrance-free, and the chemical smell really isn't that strong. So it's very lightweight, it absorbs really well, and it really doesn't leave much of a white cast. So I'll show you guys right here. I don't know if you guys can see, so you'll have to trust me on that one. Oh, and it's cruelty-free and vegan also. It's got 8 types of hyaluronic acid in it, ceramides and centella and fig extracts, so it's great if you have dehydrated skin, and it can double as a moisturizer. If you have oily skin though, you might find it a bit too hydrating. This one was not reformulated as a result of some of the retesting that was done. I was really relieved when I saw the video the Korean Institute of Dermatological Sciences posted about the results of this sunscreen. It passed for SPF, PA, and benzene levels. So yay, it can keep being my holy grail for that dewy sunscreen. Overall, this is great if your skin is dehydrated or you're looking for a dewy finish and no white cast. It's probably a bit too much if you have oily skin, and because it's a chemical sunscreen, it could be irritating for you if you have sensitive skin. Next up, let's talk about a physical or mineral sunscreen. So these work by using physical blockers as a shield to reflect the sun's rays. They're really effective if you're diligent and reapply every couple of hours. I personally prefer physical sunscreens to chemical ones because they're best for preventing hyperpigmentation. Plus, they can be great for oilier skin types because the most common physical filter is zinc oxide, because it gives sun protection without the greasiness. It's also great for wound healing. It forms a barrier on your skin to protect it from irritants, so physical sunscreens are best for sensitive skin. But these physical filters can be really thick, so sometimes you end up with pasty formulas that are hard to spread. It can also leave a white cast, so it might not be the best option if you have a darker skin tone. So surprise, surprise, my pick is another Isntree sunscreen. This time it's the Isntree Hyaluronic Acid Perfect Sun Block. Just to be clear, this is not sponsored by Isntree in any way. I legitimately just really like their products. Okay, first, to back up, it was really hard trying to find a good physical sunscreen because some of the ones I tested peeled too easily, while others had a very strong white cast or citrus essential oils, which can be photosensitizing. So I like this one from Isntree because the texture is just so nice. It's like a watery gel serum, so it really doesn't feel like you're applying a physical sunscreen at all. It's definitely more like a moisturizer. It also spreads really well, which helps because when you first apply it, it comes out super white, which was kind of scary at first, but after putting in a bit of work to spread it out, the white cast cast does dry down to like maybe a 2 out of 10, but you definitely have to put in some work to spread it out before it dries down. To be honest, I'm not even really mad at a bit of white cast. That's probably a good thing after some of the sunscreen scandals because it doesn't feel like it's too good to be true. Plus, it wears nicely under makeup. It does feel a bit tacky at first, but then it does dry into a finish with a nice satiny sheen that isn't too shiny. I think this could work for all skin types, especially dehydrated skin because the formula is packed with 8 types of hyaluronic acid, and it's also got niacinamide, ceramides, and glycerin as well as vitamin E in it. This is good for a high SPF physical sunscreen, and it can also double as a moisturizer. Rubbing it in is a bit harder though, and you will definitely need a mirror to apply it. And I wouldn't recommend this for darker skin tones because of the white cast. Do I think there are better physical sunscreens with less of a white cast out there? Yes, and I do mention them in my sunscreen guide, but they are also more expensive. So all in all, I still think this is a good pick. Now let's talk about formulas that have both chemical and physical sunscreen filters, and I promise I'll talk about other brands too. So I really like mixed sunscreen formulas because it can be the best of both worlds and you get different types of sun protection. It's still pretty hard to find combined chemical and physical sunscreens in the US, but Korean skincare is way ahead of the game on that, and they had so many of them I had to actually filter through them to pick my favorites. Let's talk about the Purito Daily Go-To Sunscreen. You're probably surprised that there's a Purito sunscreen on the list after the whole controversy that went down. By the way, if you're looking at me really confused right now and you have no idea what I'm talking about, go ahead and check out my video about it first and then come back to this. You might not want to support Purito after what happened. I totally get that. But a few more things have happened since then. On the one hand, Purito was able to own their mistakes by recalling their sunscreens from shelves and offering refunds as a cautious step before their test results even came back. And they were very transparent about their failures. They also became the face of the controversy while other brands just kind of quietly pulled products off the shelves. On the other hand, there is growing suspicions they did a bait and switch at the very beginning with the SPF levels. The allegation is after the SPF tests had already come back from the lab, they asked the manufacturers to retweak the formulation but didn't retest the SPF afterwards. I think the right thing for me to do in this situation is to just give you guys the information I uncovered and let you make the moral judgment for yourselves. The new sunscreen, the product itself is good, and I'm honestly torn and I don't really even know how I feel about it right now. I've never taken any payment from them, by the way. I've only received a few PR products, and that will never sway my opinion about a brand. So do they deserve to be forgiven for owning up to their wrongs and correcting it? Or is the initial deceit just too much of a breach of trust? As for the effectiveness of their new sunscreen, Purito has posted the results of in vivo tests passed from the Korean Institute of Dermatological Sciences as well as a lab in the US. I think considering what happened to them last year, it's in their best interest to double and even triple check the SPF is at least as protective as advertised. Aside from the effectiveness, other differences are the new packaging. The outer package is made from biodegradable sugarcane and it's printed with soy ink, so that's really cool. And the nozzle is a little bit wider. I do prefer the narrower nozzle from their old packaging, but that's such a small point. The formula is also coral reef safe and it's cruelty free and vegan. It does have like a really nice texture, like a watery moisturizer. It doesn't feel sticky or heavy to wear, and it doesn't pill. So the difference between this and the Centella Green Level and Comfy Water Sunblock sunscreens is that this is a lot more watery with more slip to it. Like it's almost as if there's a little bit of separation in the ingredients, but there's no initial white cast and it spreads extremely well and absorbs very quickly, and it leaves this kind of like slightly dewy finish and a white cast level of like 0 out of 10 like the old sunscreens. Unlike the old ones though, if you do have oily or combo skin, this might make your skin look a little bit too shiny after you reapply. This is also unscented and has those centella extracts in it, and it's still fragrance free and it doesn't really smell like anything, which is kind of nice. Overall, the texture is still really nice, even if it's not quite as elegant as in their previous sunscreens. It's got no white cast and it's easy to wear too, but that dewy finish will probably be too much for oily skin. All in all, this is a good product. The issue is more about whether you trust Purito after everything that's come to light. Okay, let's move on to another sunscreen that replaced an old favorite that did get discontinued after everything went down. It's the Make Prem Defense Me Daily Sun Fluid. I know the Blue Ray Sun Fluid was holy grail territory for a lot of you because the large size format made it pretty good value. So how does the new one compare? Well, this new one is actually a quarter size smaller than the Blue Ray Sun Fluid, but it's still large format and good value for you to use over your face and body. Unlike that one, which was physical only, this one is a mixed sunscreen. So it does seem like this is a trend. A lot of the discontinued ones that were either physical or chemical are now a mix of both. As for the texture, this one also feels really light. It's really watery and like super easy to spread. I can't compare it to the other one because unfortunately I don't have it. This absorbs really well and it does have like a little bit of a tacky feeling before it dries down, but it's pretty moisturizing, and once it does dry down, it doesn't feel like you're wearing sunscreen at all. It just leaves like a very natural skin finish and there's no white cast. This one is also fragrance free, but it does have a faint sunscreen smell to it. It's also got ingredients like bamboo water, centella extracts, fig extracts, propanediol, and glycerin. Overall, it's a good value size sunscreen that feels really nice and works for most skin types. It's also good for both your face and body. Not that you can't apply any of the others on your body too, it's more that you just have like a bigger surface area to cover, so a larger size bottle makes sense. Okay, so the last product I wanted to talk about is very unique and solves a big problem for a lot of us. I finally found an easy solution for touch-ups and reapplying sunscreen over makeup. It's the VT Essence Sun Pact. Look at that beautiful cushion compact packaging. It's so cute and small, so it's really easy to throw into your bag or a backpack. It also has this like click lock mechanism, so it won't spill out very easily. It also comes with this cute little cushion to apply it with when you open it up. It also has this swirl pattern in the pen, which is pretty aesthetic and vibey, but don't worry, it won't leave a blue and white streak on your face. I also really like that when you're done with the pen, you can just buy a refill and pop it into the compact. It's also fragrance free, and this one is packed with great antioxidants like sodium oxorbyl phosphate, a derivative of vitamin C, as well as peptides, glycerin, licorice extract, and centella extract. What I love about it is it leaves my skin looking so flawless and radiant, so it's best if your skin is a bit dehydrated, dry, or balanced, and you're looking for something to give you that glowy look. But if you have really oily skin, you might feel uncomfortable wearing this because it might look a little bit like you're sweating. A powder-based one will probably work better for you. So this does leave a little bit of a white cast. I'll show you guys on my arm. I don't know if you guys can see that. Definitely initially when you first pat it out, it looks kind of whitish, but then when you pat it out with the cushion, it's not as noticeable. If you're not wearing makeup, like I'm not on my arm, then I do find the white cast is at about a 2 out of 10. Overall, I wouldn't recommend it if you have oily skin, but if you don't, this is great for reapplying over makeup when you're out and about, doing your thing and living your life. Plus, the package just looks so cute. Alright, so that's it from me. Thanks so much for watching. I know sunscreens can sometimes feel really confusing, especially with the tea that was spilled last year. Just remember, the important thing is the best sunscreen for you is one that you actually like applying and reapplying. Those are the ones I've never regretted buying. If you do plan on picking any of these up or any other Korean beauty products, save yourself 10% off or more from Stylevana with code INF10COS. I really hope this video was helpful for you, and if it was, don't forget to give your girl a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any more fun and informative skincare and beauty videos like this one. Love you guys. See you next time.